Hey, what's up everyone? It's been a while since I made a video, but I have been working on the car. Today the plan, we're going to get the transmission bolted to the motor and test fit in the car. So pretty excited about that. Hopefully, don't have to cut too much of the floorboard out. From what I've seen with like bigger 5-speeds, like I've had the car together with a T5 in it before, and that was fine. But from what I've heard with these, like this AR5 I have is a little bit bigger, and same thing with T56s, you gotta cut the floor out. So some of it, the trans tunnel, so not really the floor, but the trans tunnel. So we'll see if I have to cut any of that out, and we'll get this thing together. So I did clean out the garage a little bit. I still have like 20 pounds in a 5-pound bag. But anyway, I got the transmission on a cart so I can wheel it over to the other side. Probably gonna take the shifter off just to make it easier to get in. And then if you look over here, don't mind the mess, but I have the car. So this is the joys of working in a small garage. I don't have the light on yet, but I've got the motor over there. And I went ahead and changed out the water pump and the harmonic balancer to the Corvette style, so that way I'll know where to place it. And I have the fenders on, and we'll talk about more about that when I get the lights on and the car pushed back. Alright, so here's what we've got with the car. So I've been working on getting the fenders mounted up and such, and I've got them close enough. They're not perfect yet, but they're close enough to get the motor and transmission in. And then it's just going to save so much time to get the gaps and stuff right. I don't want to get bogged down with that. I'd rather get the motor and transmission in. And it rained last night, so that's raindrops falling off the trees. But anyway, so I've got a bar here and a bar here. And right now I've just got big plates. These will get trimmed down to the final size and be a little small once I know where I want to put them. And then up front I got my passenger side. Thanks to Team D Performance, I bought that from him. He shipped it over to me. And I got a cool t-shirt too, so that's good. But so I've just got that connected to the straight bar. And same thing on the driver's side. And then eventually we'll have some bars go from here down to here. And I just want to finalize that stuff after I get the motor and stuff in and see where the radiator and the intercooler and the turbo is going to go. But it looks pretty cool. I think it's going to work. So the plan today is to get the transmission. So I got the transmission over here. And then I just got to get the motor out. Get the motor. And we'll get it bolted together and we'll test fit it. And then we'll probably get the saws all out. And cut some of the trans tunnel out. So yeah, so let's get at it. Cool, so we are making progress. I got the engine hoist spun around, getting the bellhousing bolted up right now. So, my biggest fear, these are 10mm 12-point socket. I'm gonna lose that socket. Not only is it 10mm, but it's also a 12-point. So we'll see. We won't be able to change it at the track because I won't be able to find the socket. But anyway, so let me get those bolted up and then we'll take this shifter off and then we'll get to test fitting. Alright, so I'm going to push the car back in a little bit and then we'll take out the radiator support. That way you should be able to slide the motor and transmission in pretty easy. And then we'll see where we need to start cutting the trans tunnel. Because if you look at this thing, it's a tall transmission, so it's not overly big, but you can see how tall that one is. And here's the Turbo 400 that was in it. So it's not nearly, you know, I don't know, maybe they're about the same. Alright, so we got the bad boy jacked up. So I think we're high enough. So now the fun part, pushing this thing forward with these crappy ass casters. But I'm trying to keep it straight. So let's get at it. So got the strap out. I gotta get better at conning my buddies into coming over and helping me work on this thing. But sometimes when you're working by yourself, you gotta do stuff. So let's get this thing pushed in. Alright, so we got her about halfway in. Just slowly take my time and tweaking it. We'll see how this goes here. Alright, so kind of hard to see because it's dark, but the motor's about where I need it front to back. I'm hoping to go back a little bit more. Let's see how this looks. So you can see transmission's hanging that low and it's hitting the tunnel. So we're going to pull this, take some measurements, pull it back out and start cutting out the tunnel. So wish me luck. Alright, so probably gonna get the vacuum out and vacuum this thing out before I start cutting in here, but I kind of just rough marked it with a Sharpie. I'm cutting it small the first time because I don't want to remove any more than I have to. So we'll take the tunnel out back to here, which the T5 shifter was about right here, which that should be about close to the same spot. And then I'm not taking a bunch off the front yet until I see, I want to get this cut out and then we'll slide the motor back in, motor transmission, and see how it fits, because I want to cut it as little as possible, because you can already tell I already have a lot to put back together and I'm really not looking forward to that part, so I don't want to make a bunch more work up here unless I have to. Alright, got the motor transmission back out. Aluminum foil did its job, kept junk from getting in the transmission while I was banging around in the floor, and got some stuff marked, push the car back out so I can get the doors open. So I'm fixing to hop in there, drill some holes. I think I'm going to use my Sawzall versus cutting wheel, just because I have the Lowe's hardware peel and seal, the cheap man's Dynomat sound deadener. This stuff gets really stinky when you grind it, so I think I'll cut it. My big worry is my car is pretty narrow, so you know, I just worry about making this tunnel too wide. But let me get all this stuff cleaned out, but you can see how close the seats are together and they're almost where they need to be. But I'll probably cut it back to about right there, and we'll go from there. I think the train got near. I was trying to make a video. He's just angry. But anyway, hold on. train's killing me. So I've got the big boy stepper bit, so it'll drill out a hole big enough for my Sawzall blade to fit in. So the plan is to cut it that way, and then we'll see how that goes. We'll switch over to a cutoff wheel if we need to, but I prefer to do it this way just so I don't get a bunch of stink from the sound deadener stuff. Alright, so Sawzall cut sheet metal like butter. So there we go. Now we got a hole in the front to match the hole in the back. So let's get this transmission back in here and see how it fits. Alright, so test fit number 2 went better. You can see clearance for the oil pan, that's pretty decent. Motor's still not quite right left to right, but that's an easy fix. And then starting to think about motor mounts. Here's the homemade ones I had before, which I think I'm just going to cut that off and we'll just go down to here. Just do a straight one there. I'll have to look at it because that would be really nice for exhaust if I want to run exhaust out the back. So I might want to come down to the cross member for this side just to leave that area open for fun stuff. I still have to put a starter in there too. And then this side same way. You know, I'll just can't see the motor mount because of my homemade coil mounts there, but I think I'll do the same thing. And then transmission wise, you can see it fits a lot better. Definitely got to get the transmission back a few more inches, and it's hitting up in there, so we're going to trim a few more inches of the front of the tunnel out so we can get this thing pushed. And my big worry is you see how high that's sitting, and you know the transmission hoop, the drive shaft hoop in the back is really high too, so I might have to cut my tunnel out and make it all taller too, just to figure that out. So we gotta look into that too, because the motor's still got a pretty decent angle on it there. I need to put an angle finder on it, so that means the transmission will need to come up even more. So yeah, I gotta find my angle finder and see how much of an angle that is. And the car's not on level ground either, so I'll probably put an angle finder on the cross member and just make the motor match it. This is my fault. We're close to matching. But let me get this motor back out, and then we'll get this other part cut, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I kind of regret my decision on cutting the hole small. I've already tried it like 3-4 times, still not fitting, still cutting more, so we're just going to cut it as big as we can this time and just see if it fits then. So we'll go from there. You can see the hole is getting bigger, and that's the last piece I cut out, so we'll cut out some more. You can't really tell, but I did draw with a Sharpie on where I want to cut it. Might have to take the gas pedal out. I'm not sure if it's going to get in the way of the blade because I'm cutting from the outside just because it's easier. And then hopefully it'll be the last test fit, and then we can go back to talking about motor mounts. Alright, so we have a motor. So it's in. Pretty happy with it. What I did is I've got a small piece of wood on the cross member, and now it's just sitting on the oil pan. So you can see, kind of hard to see, but the oil pan is just maybe a smidge lower than the cross member in the back, which hopefully will be alright. I might try to raise it up another 1/2 inch. I want to get the big thing is I'm running the stock truck intake because I'm running out of money. So I want to run that, so I want to make sure that stays under the stock hood. So I'm going to get that and set it on there. I'm pretty sure I got plenty of room, so that shouldn't be an issue. And then transmission, definitely got to do some tunnel work. So we'll definitely do some tunnel work. Driver's side actually looks okay. Passenger side, I think I need to cut a little more out. You can kind of see right there. And so we're going to try that. Because you can see the aluminum adapter plate is where the issue is. It's hitting the side there. That's keeping me from pushing the transmission. Transmission needs to go just a smidge to the passenger side to get everything perfect. But I got the crank center line. So it's 27 inches in between my frame rails on the inside, and this is 13.5, but it is sitting a little bit like that. So I just got to trim that tunnel a little more so I can get it that way. And then we'll check level and build some motor mounts. And I do believe I'll just take these off, cut that one off, and just, I don't know if I want to do it to the front or the back. And I don't know if I want to weld them in or bolt them in. So there's a lot of figuring to go on. But we're making good progress, so this will be pretty exciting once we get this done. Get this mounted up, then we can start wiring. And I had to pull it out one more time, do the flywheel and everything. And I want to get all these holes in the firewall fixed before it goes back in for good. But exciting times, so I'm pretty happy. Making good progress today, and hopefully it continues. Alright, so 5th or 6th time was almost the charm. So got it in. I'm pretty happy with it. So here'll be the clearance on the steering rack, which is kind of hard to see. I've got the oil pan sitting on a piece of block right now. And then if you look underneath the oil pan, that's gonna be hard. Anyway, the oil pan is barely above the cross member, which is good. And then the transmission is pretty much good. I've got to do a little bit more trimming. You can see I got a Sharpie mark there, the center line, and you can see the transmission's off, but I can't get it over because the gas pedal's in the way. So I'm going to pull motor transmission out, take out the gas pedal. Got some 1/4 inch steel, so I'm going to weld on some tabs, I think right here. So I'll weld me a tab right here, and then get my motor mounts off and cleaned up, and then once it's back in and positioned, I can tack in my motor mount, and then we can take it out and get that deal finalized. And then we have to figure out what we want to do transmission mount wise, but we'll get these motor mounts done today hopefully. And I've been here quite a while today, so probably try to get these motor mounts done and call it a day. And all right, so it's dark in there. There we go. So I got the motor pulled back out. I'm gonna make some tabs real quick. I'm gonna try to make 2, kind of like that. Let me get my little cutting station. So I got tired of getting metal chips all in the garage, so I put this thing together. It's all bolted down, and then it's on wheels. So this will be the first time I wheel it outside. So let me wheel it outside and see if it works. Alright, so I nibbled off the ends there, just the corners with my bandsaw. So we'll get the drill press now and drill the hole before I cut it, and then we'll go see if it works. And if it does, I'll make another one just like it. Alright, so got the 1/2 inch hole drilled, got it cut, got it ground, so it's halfway nice looking. It's hot. I got a blister. I got a glove now, no more blisters. So I'll show you what the plan is. So we're just gonna make one more, and we'll just put them in there like so. Can you see that? My glove's in the way. But we'll just put one there and one here on this side, same place, same kind of deal. And I'm pretty sure if I put it here, it'll go up high enough that if we put it, pretty sure if we put it here, it'll go high enough to miss the steering, which is important. So that's our plan. Alright, so I'm liking my little setup. It's nice to be able to drill, cut, and grind and wire wheel all at the same spot. All I got left to do is I need to get me a power strip, get everything plugged into, and then get it plugged into an extension cord, so then it has its own little power and I can just plug it in wherever I want. That would be sweet. So that's next on the agenda. But I got this last one cut, so now I'm just going to grind it. good enough for me. So this is where I got my blister. So I'm not gonna touch it this time. And I also got to get a guard for this wire wheel, because when you're turning and you run yourself into the wire wheel, it's not good. So I got to find a guard for that. So yeah. So let's get this one cut, and then we'll let it cool, and then we'll grind and weld. Alright, we've got the spot ground there where we're going to put a tab, and we got a spot ground there where we're going to put a tab. Got the tabs ground up. So the plan is just to weld it there. And I wanted to kind of, really thought I was going to put it farther back, like maybe a half an inch. Let's look at this side so we can see it better. But I'll probably just go a quarter inch to make sure I can clear the steering over here, because I don't want to get too close. So we'll just go in a quarter inch on both sides and go from there. Alright, so got them welded in. I'm left-handed, so I was able to get a better angle on this one, so that weld looks better than that weld. But they're both functional. So we'll let those cool off a minute, and then we'll go get the motor and transmission back in here. I clearanced the tunnel some more, so hopefully it fits right this time. And then we will go from there. So I'm pretty excited. I'm kind of getting wore out, to be honest with you. So hoping to get this motor in here and get these two motor mounts on. You've seen I've got the strap that kind of holds up the transmission while I'm thinking about the transmission mount. So we'll try to just leave it like that, and then we'll roll this thing in. And then next time we work on it, we have to take it apart and get the flywheel and stuff put on, because I haven't put the flywheel on yet. But I didn't have any bolts, because I had the Turbo 400 and a flex plate, and those are long bolts for the flex plate because it has a spacer, and this needed short ones. So I ordered some ARPs, so they'll be here shortly. So it got hot out here today. We're still at it, you know, just showed you those tabs. They're cooled off now. So we're going to get this motor and transmission put in for hopefully last time today. Really not looking forward to pulling it out anymore today. We'll get it in. We'll just leave it supported by the tow straps, like I said earlier. The transmission will be supported by that. Engine will be bolted in. But then we got to take it all out and get the flywheel on and the clutch and all that stuff. And then hopefully we can put it back together, motor and transmission together for good, and then get it back in here. So once I figure out the transmission mount, that'll be pretty exciting. We'll go with that. And then, you know, next up is wiring and fuel lines and brake lines and all that stuff. And my plan is to get it actually cranked and running before I do any of the floorboard stuff, because I don't want to do the floorboard stuff, and it'll be good motivation if the car is running and just needs that done. So that's my plan. So yeah, let's get back at it. Alright, so these are the homemade motor mounts I had in it when it's still stock suspension, and you can see from the wreck they both kind of got bent. So I'm going to cut those off, flatten the place back out, and make sure everything looks good, and then bolt them back to the motor. And then once we get it set, we can get the angle right and get a piece cut and get it tacked in and get to bolting it in. So luckily these things just barely fit in my bandsaw standing up, and I'm able to get a pretty decent cut. It's taken a while, but I think it'll be worth it just to get a good cut on it. Alright, got them both cut, so just now I got to go hit them a little bit with the grinder, and then we'll get them bolted back onto the motor, and we'll get to test fitting. Alright, so got her in. Happy with it. Got a little bit of clearance back to the firewall here. Transmission is good and centered in the hole. I do worry about the shifter being too far forward, but that's something we'll just have to deal with. I might have to spring for one of those other shifters that mount on the back. We'll see. And then I'm definitely going to have to cut the tunnel, because you can see that's the angle I want the motor at. It's tilted back by about 2 degrees. And you can see how high that is. So I'm definitely going to have to cut the tunnel, top of the tunnel. I'm hoping to just cut the top and just reform it a little taller. And we'll probably go ahead and get a drive shaft hoop to match that one. We'll put it up here in the front while we're rebuilding it. just so it doesn't try to throw a drive shaft at me when I miss a gear and then bang it and all that craziness. Well, anyway, progress. So now we're going to figure out this angle and then the distance to here, and then we'll cut the piece out of this guy, and we'll do the same thing for the other side. The crank is centered in the chassis, so that's good. I got my precision level, so it's good enough. So I know it says it's tilted back 5 degrees, but the whole car is tilted back 3 degrees, you know, just the way it's in the garage. So it's actually only tilted 2 degrees if you do the math. It's awesome. Anyway, we're gonna get these motor mounts cut and then hopefully clean up a little bit and push all this mess inside and then relax the rest of the afternoon. All right, so we got everything ready. So the plan is to weld up the front side of this on both sides, the motor mounts, and then wait. So I got to pull the motor and stuff back out for the flywheel and stuff. I already talked about that. When I do that, I'll also final weld the motor mounts, and I got to start researching. So I'm gonna get this welded up and then stop for now, and then I'll go research the transmission mount for this AR5 and see what the mount looks like for out of a truck, and then maybe buy that, because I've got this solid, so I definitely want that to be, you know, a rubber bushing or polyurethane or whatever. But you can see I've got it good and centered up. So I'm going to set the shifter back in there so it isn't an open hole, and then we'll push this thing back in for the evening. Cool. So that's probably where we're going to end this one off. So hopefully next time you see it, we'll be doing a transmission mount. And once we get the transmission mount in, we'll quickly jump onto some wiring and some fuel lines and all that happy stuff. So making progress. Thanks everybody for watching. Leave some comments if you got any ideas on how to do stuff. And another cool thing is we'll be able to figure out where we want the turbo, which you know, there's always, you could cletus it and come it out of the hood, but I'm kind of older and more subtle. So I really like the stock looking hood on these cars and just have them looking stock. So my plan is to put it behind the grill somewhere. Got to see how much room I have for a radiator, which the Corvette pump and balancers definitely going to give me a little more room. So that'll be nice. And yeah, so that's the plan. We'll work on wiring, plumbing, turbo stuff. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll keep at it.